Liam McGregor was driving his old truck along the winding roads leading to the center of a small mountain town in the interior of Canada. He needed to buy supplies and, as usual, preferred to do it early in the morning. Upon arriving in town, he noticed a crowd in front of a bar. It wasn't common to see commotion in that town, so he approached and was shocked by what he saw. A group of bikers was mistreating a small dog, a tiny puppy. One of the aggressors, visibly drunk, was kicking the animal, and at one point when the dog tried to bite him, the man even stepped on the little dog's head with his boot, while the others laughed and encouraged the cruelty. The dog, despite its small size, showed impressive bravery, fighting to defend itself. Liam watched the scene, feeling a mix of anger and compassion. He knew he needed to do something, but he also understood that acting impulsively could put him in danger. So, he waited patiently, watching for an opportunity to rescue the dog. Finally, when the bikers got distracted, Liam acted quickly, grabbed the dog, and discreetly placed it in his truck. Without looking back, he drove back to his farm, ready to offer a new home to the brave animal. When they arrived at the farm, Liam gave the dog water and food, which was visibly exhausted and scared. He decided that from that moment on, the little dog would have a safe place to call home. Liam took care of its wounds and named it Gunnar, a kind of Nordic name meaning brave warrior, promising that he would never let it suffer again. Don't miss any exciting stories. Check if you're already subscribed to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. Liam stayed alert, observing every move of the bikers and waiting for the right moment to act. He knew that any misstep could worsen the situation, both for him and for the dog. The bikers, engrossed in their cruelty, didn't notice Liam's fixed and calculating gaze. When one of the bikers got distracted by seeing someone he knew passing by on the street, Liam seized the opportunity. Moving quickly and quietly, he approached the dog. The little dog was exhausted, with matted and dirty fur, and its eyes reflected fear and pain. It was trembling uncontrollably and panting, but there was still a spark of fight in its eyes. Liam cautiously extended his hand, trying not to scare the dog more than it already was. He murmured soft words to calm it down. With a swift and precise movement, he picked the dog up in his arms and, holding it tightly, discreetly made his way to his truck. The dog was light as a feather, but its breathing was heavy and irregular. When he reached the truck, Liam placed the dog in the passenger seat and took one last look at the bikers, who still hadn't noticed the animal was gone. Feeling a mix of relief and adrenaline, he started the engine and quickly drove out of the town, heading towards the safety of his farm. During the drive, Liam glanced at the dog, which was now lying on the seat, breathing with difficulty. He could see the wounds and bruises covering the little animal's body. Liam's heart broke at the thought of the pain and suffering the dog had endured. Determined to give the dog a second chance, Liam made the decision to take it home and care for it. He knew it would be a challenge, but he was ready to offer the dog the safe and loving home it deserved. Before continuing, I want to ask you to leave a like on this video. This is very important so that YouTube continues to promote future videos to you. Upon arriving at the farm, Liam placed the little dog in an improvised bed in the barn. He knew that Gunnar would need some time to recover and adjust to the new environment. In the first few days, the dog was visibly scared and suspicious, but Liam was patient. He provided food and water regularly and spent time gently talking to the dog, creating a safe and welcoming environment. Gradually, Gunnar began to feel more at ease. His strength and energy started to return, and he began to explore the farm with curiosity. Liam watched with satisfaction as the dog made progress, noticing how he grew more confident each day. The two began to form a strong bond, based on trust and mutual respect. Liam had other dogs on the farm, all well trained to protect his family and property. At first, he kept Gunnar separated from the other dogs to avoid conflicts and give the new family member time to adjust. Slowly, he started introducing Gunnar to the other dogs, carefully supervising each interaction. Gunnar's training began gradually. Liam knew it was important not to overwhelm the dog, so he introduced new commands and tasks slowly. Gunnar was an attentive and dedicated dog, absorbing each lesson with enthusiasm. He learned to obey basic commands, and over time, he became a skilled and reliable guardian of the farm. The other dogs accepted Gunnar as part of the group, and soon he was running and playing with his new friends. The physical and emotional scars began to heal, and Gunnar grew stronger in the safe and loving environment that Liam provided. The farm, with its vast fields and surrounding forests, became a true paradise for the dog, who now had a new life. As Liam watched Gunnar run freely around the farm, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew he had done the right thing by rescuing that helpless little puppy. Gunnar, now strong and healthy, was a constant reminder that kindness and compassion could change lives. In the 2 years following Gunnar's rescue, the biker gang continued to cause trouble in the town. They were known for their intimidating attitudes and aggressive behavior. Frequently, the bikers gathered at local bars, where they drank excessively and instigated fights. Their loud motorcycles and threatening presence became a common sight on the town streets. The local residents lived in a constant state of alert. The gang not only disturbed the peace but also engaged in criminal activities, such as petty theft and vandalism. They intimidated shopkeepers and residents, demanding money in exchange for protection. Those who refused to pay were targeted for retaliation, such as property damage and physical threats. The presence of the gang had a profound impact on the community. Fear and insecurity became common feelings among the inhabitants. Many avoided going out at night and took extra precautions to protect their properties. Children were kept under constant watch, and community events dwindled as people feared gathering in public. Liam, while concerned for the safety of his family and farm, remained vigilant. He reinforced security measures on his property and continued to train his dogs to protect the farm. Tension in the community grew day by day. Residents began to organize in neighborhood watch groups, patrolling the streets and reporting suspicious activities to the police. However, the gang always seemed to be one step ahead, evading authorities and continuing their criminal activities. A sense of helplessness and frustration grew among the inhabitants, who longed for a return to the peace they once knew. With the growing unrest in the community and the constant presence of the biker gang, Liam decided he needed to take additional measures to protect his farm. He began by installing security cameras at strategic points around the property. Every corner of the farm was monitored to ensure that nothing went unnoticed. Additionally, he set up silent alarms that would trigger in case of a break-in, alerting him to any suspicious activity without notifying the intruders. The next step was to intensify the training of the dogs. Liam already had experience in training guard dogs, but with the new threat, he decided to further enhance the skills of his four-legged protectors. Gunnar, in particular, showed incredible potential and a willingness to learn. Liam worked diligently, teaching advanced obedience commands and protection techniques. The dogs were trained to patrol the property at specific times and respond immediately to Liam's commands. The routine security scenes on the farm became part of daily life. Each morning, Liam reviewed the footage from the security cameras, looking for any signs of unusual activity. He patrolled the property with his dogs, checking fences and doors to ensure everything was in order. At night, the dogs patrolled the farm, their heightened senses ready to detect any intrusion. Liam also implemented invasion simulations, testing the alarms and the dogs' responses in controlled situations. This not only kept the dogs alert, but also allowed Liam to identify and correct any weaknesses in the security systems. He knew he couldn't leave anything to chance. The safety of his family and property depended on the effectiveness of these measures. Gunnar, now stronger and more confident, stood out during training sessions. His loyalty to Liam was unwavering, and he showed fierce determination to protect his new home. The other dogs followed his lead, forming a cohesive and efficient team. The farm, with its vast lands and multiple entry points, became a challenge for any intruder, thanks to the meticulous planning and dedication of its owner. It was late afternoon when suddenly, 4 men appeared on the security cameras. They had trespassed onto Liam's property without realizing they had triggered a silent alarm. The dogs were trained to remain silent, monitoring the area without alerting the intruders. Before reaching the house, the men encountered a fence, the last warning before entering the most protected territory of the farm. Liam, watching everything through the cameras, remained calm. He knew the dogs couldn't cross the fence unless he opened the gate. The men, confident, continued to advance. When they got dangerously close to the house, Liam made a decision. He released the dogs but didn't open the gate, knowing that could be lethal for anyone standing there. The men were frozen in fear at the sight of the real monsters waiting for them. The dogs, with fierce eyes and threatening postures, charged toward the intruders, who, terrified, began to run without looking back. However, Gunnar recognized those men, particularly one of them, the same one who had stepped on his head 2 years before. In a phenomenal effort, Gunnar managed to leap over the fence and chased after the man, who sprinted into the woods without stopping. He knew there would be no chance of survival if that dog caught him. When Liam triggered the silent alarm, the dogs immediately went on high alert, ready to defend the property. They remained still, waiting for the final command. The intruders continued to advance, confident that they would find no resistance. As they got dangerously close to the house, Liam released the dogs but kept the gate closed. Without hesitation, the dogs charged toward the intruders, moving with agility and precision up to the edge of the protective fence. The men were terrified at the sight of the dogs advancing, true guard lions. Their expressions of confidence turned to fear. The well-trained dogs surrounded the intruders, barking fiercely but not crossing the fence. They knew exactly how to position themselves to block the men's escape, maintaining a threatening stance. The coordination among the dogs was impressive, a result of the intense training they had received. Panicking at the sight of the true monsters waiting for them, the men began to run desperately without looking back. However, Gunnar recognized those men, particularly one of them, the same one who had stepped on his head 2 years before. In a phenomenal effort, Gunnar managed to leap over the protective fence and chased after that man blindly, who sprinted into the woods without stopping. Gunnar, with fierce courage in his eyes, chased the assailant through the dense forest. The man ran desperately, jumping over bushes and dodging low branches, but Gunnar, driven by a mix of instinct and memory, wasted no time. The forest echoed with the frantic footsteps of the man and the threatening barks of the dog. The chase was intense. The assailant could feel his heart pounding in his chest, breath coming in gasps, and fear consuming him. He knew there was no chance of survival if Gunnar caught up to him. The dog moved with impressive agility, leaping over fallen logs and crossing streams with ease. Each step brought him closer to his target, and the man could hear the barks growing louder. The tension in the forest was palpable. The man tried to shake Gunnar off by abruptly changing direction and hiding behind trees, but nothing worked. Gunnar was relentless, his eyes fixed on the assailant, driven by a thirst for justice. The chase felt endless, each second stretching into an eternity of panic and fury. Finally, the man reached a cliff. He looked down and saw the dizzying drop, with only about 2 meters of space below. Without thinking twice, he jumped. Gunnar almost reached him. There was nowhere left to run. Cornered, he looked up to see the dog staring down from the cliff. Gunnar stopped just a few meters away, growling low, his eyes filled with rage. The cliff offered no escape. He was trapped between the rock and the furious dog. Gunnar held his ground, barking fiercely as the man cowered in fear. The scene was pure tension, with Gunnar facing his aggressor while the man trembled, aware that his fate rested in the paws of this avenging dog. The relentless pursuit had reached its climax, and justice was about to be served. Meanwhile, Liam, who had alerted the police, anxiously awaited news. From the top of the cliff, he could see the small road leading to the McGregor farm. When Gunnar spotted the police car, he ran down the hill and stopped in front of the vehicle, barking non-stop. The officers noticed the dog was signaling them and decided to follow him. They trailed Gunnar to the cliff where they found the assailant cornered. Seeing the police approaching, Gunnar slightly backed away but kept his eyes locked on the man. The officers quickly apprehended the man, who was now in shock, terrified that the dog would attack him. Upon checking the man's identity, the police discovered he was a wanted fugitive for various crimes in the area. The capture of this criminal brought great relief to the community, which had long been living in fear of the biker gang's actions. Gunnar, seeing the police dealing with the assailant, finally retreated but kept his watchful eyes on him. After capturing the delinquent, the police intensified efforts to dismantle the motorcycle gang. Information provided by the captured man, combined with the constant vigilance of residents, led to the arrest of the other gang members. The operation was quick and efficient, resulting in the removal of the threat that loomed over the small Canadian city. With the gang out of the picture, peace began to be restored. Residents, who previously lived in fear and uncertainty, began to feel gradual relief. The streets, previously deserted at dusk, once again became the stage for social interactions and community events. The feeling of security, which had been eroded by the presence of bikers, was slowly rebuilt. After cornering the attacker on the cliff and being arrested by the guard, Gana was returning to the farm when he met Liam on the way. When the police arrived at the farm, they found Liam and questioned him about the other men. Liam reported that they had run away. The officers also asked Liam why only one dog was able to jump the fence and chase that man. Liam explained that Gana had been rescued from the streets and that there was a special reason for him to act that way. Gana had been mistreated by a man who had stepped on his head, and he certainly identified something about that particular man. Two men broke into a house in a dangerous neighborhood of Southside Chicago, but they had no idea who was waiting for them. Click the card that's appearing on the screen. We love having you here. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next story.